Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Global Times USA. Please subscribe and like my videos if you haven't already, as we dive deep into the most pressing global stories with unbiased insights and detailed analysis. Today, we're breaking down one of the most shocking developments on the Eastern Front, the daring train attack that has sent ripples through the ongoing conflict. This strike by Ukrainian forces and their partisan allies on a critical Russian supply line train has not only disrupted logistics, but also highlighted the evolving tactics in modern warfare. Let's explore every angle of this event, starting from the visible surface of the operation to its deeper mechanics and lasting impacts. The exterior of this military supply train presented a formidable sight before the strike. A long, snaking behemoth of steel and resilience cutting through the rugged landscapes of Russia's Leningrad Oblast. Stretching over several hundred meters, the locomotive at the front was a classic Russian diesel-electric model, painted in the standard olive-drab camouflage that blended seamlessly with the forested terrain along the Stroganovo-Mshchenskaya railway section. Its robust frame, reinforced with heavy plating to withstand harsh Siberian winters and potential sabotage, featured wide, gauge tracks designed for high-load capacity, allowing it to haul up to 3,000 tons of cargo without strain. The cars behind it were equally imposing, flatbeds loaded with crated munitions, tankers brimming with fuel, and covered wagons hiding artillery pieces and armored vehicle components, all secured with heavy chains and tarpaulins fluttering slightly in the crisp October wind. From the outside, this train was a symbol of Russian logistical might, its exterior scarred from years of service with faint rust spots and graffiti from passing depots, yet gleaming under floodlights at night to deter opportunistic scouts. The attack unfolded in the pre-dawn hours of October 7, 2025, when the partisans timed their explosive placement perfectly under the cover of darkness, the blast ripping through the undercarriage with a deafening roar that echoed across the quiet pines. Fiery orange plumes erupted from the derailed sections, illuminating the twisted metal as wagons toppled sideways, spilling their contents into the embankment like a mechanical avalanche. Eyewitness accounts from nearby villages described the scene as apocalyptic, with the train's exterior mangled beyond recognition, derailed locomotives leaning precariously, wheels uprooted and flung dozens of meters, and cargo containers split open, exposing the innards to the cold air. This exterior devastation was immediate and visually striking, captured in grainy drone footage that circulated online within hours, showing how a single, precisely placed charge could transform an armored giant into a smoking ruin, underscoring the vulnerability of even the most hardened transport systems in asymmetric warfare. Delving deeper into the heart of this operation brings us to the interior of the train, where the real stakes of the supply line were hidden away in compartments designed for secrecy and efficiency, a labyrinth of crates, barrels, and secured pallets that formed the lifeblood of Russia's frontline efforts. Inside the lead locomotive, the engine room hummed with the low growl of massive diesel engines, their interiors a maze of oily gears, vibrating pistons and control panels lit by flickering gauges, monitoring fuel levels, pressure, and speed, all calibrated for the relentless 24/7 runs between St. Petersburg and Pskov, covering hundreds of kilometers without pause. The crew quarters, Spartan and functional, featured narrow bunks stacked like shelves, with faded photos of families taped to metal walls and emergency rations stowed in overhead nets, a testament to the grueling shifts endured by the engineers who navigated these tracks blind in blizzards or under threat of drones. Moving aft to the cargo cars, the interiors revealed a treasure trove of military sinew. The first few wagons were packed floor-to ceiling with ammunition crates stamped with Cyrillic markings, rows upon rows of 152 artillery shells, rocket-propelled grenades, and small arms cartridges, each box sealed with tamper-evident locks and padded to prevent shifting during high-speed hauls. Deeper still, In the refrigerated sections cooled by humming compressors, perishable supplies like field rations and medical kits were stacked on pallets, their interiors climate controlled to preserve vaccines and blood plasma for wounded troops, while adjacent cars held electronic warfare gear, jammers, radars, and encrypted radios, neatly racked in foam-lined shelves to shield against vibrations. The fuel tankers, cylindrical behemoths within the train's belly, sloshed with thousands of liters of diesel and aviation fuel, their interiors lined with anti-corrosive coatings and baffles to minimize surge during braking, essential for refueling tanks and jets at forward bases. Hidden in the rearmost cars were the high-value items: disassembled T-90 tank parts, optics for sniper rifles, and even prototype drone components, all cocooned in anti-static wrapping and bolted to reinforced floors, with false panels concealing sensitive documents and payroll cash for frontline units. The Partisans, guided by Ukrainian military intelligence, exploited insider knowledge to place their explosives not just under the tracks, but in ways that targeted these interior vulnerabilities, perhaps via a compromised access point or remote detonation synced to the train's passage. When the blast hit, the interiors erupted in chaos. Ammunition crates splintered, igniting secondary fires that consumed pallets of fuel in billowing infernos, while the locomotive's engine room filled with acrid smoke, gauges shattering and wiring sparking like fireworks. Survivors, if any, would have clambered through buckling bulkheads, dodging falling debris from collapsed ceilings, their escape hampered by jammed hatches warped by the heat. This interior breach wasn't just physical. It exposed the fragility of Russia's supply chain, where every bolt and brace was meant to safeguard the war machine, yet proved woefully inadequate against precision sabotage. The spilled cargo littered the tracks for kilometers, shell casings glinting in the morning light, fuel pooling in iridescent slicks that threatened environmental disaster, and scattered documents fluttering like confetti, potentially revealing operational secrets to opportunistic foragers. In the broader context, these interiors represented months of industrial output from Russian factories, funneled through this single artery to sustain offensives in Donetsk and Kharkiv. Their violation meant not just lost material but a psychological blow, forcing commanders to reroute convoys over vulnerable roads, exposing them to further ambushes. The scale of the interior damage, estimated by satellite imagery to affect at least 15 wagons fully, paralyzed the St. Petersburg Peace-Gov line for days, with repair crews working around the clock under drone surveillance, their floodlights casting eerie shadows on the gutted husks. This deep dive into the train's innards reveals the human element too, the anonymous workers who loaded these cars in distant rail yards, unaware their labor would fuel a conflict far removed, now scattered and smoldering. Ukrainian sources claim the strike neutralized enough supplies to delay a major push by weeks, a claim bolstered by the frantic Russian railways statement blaming technical reasons, a euphemism that fooled no one. As we peel back these layers, it's clear the interior wasn't merely cargo space, but a nerve center of invasion logistics, its compromise a masterstroke in attrition warfare that echoes historical sabotages like those in World War II, where partisans turned rails into rivers of fire to starve advancing armies. A048s emanate the meticulous planning behind targeting these specific interiors, prioritizing fuel and ammo over less critical loads, demonstrates the sophistication of HUR operations, blending human intelligence with low-tech explosives for maximum disruption. Imagine the scent of scorched rubber and cordite lingering in the air, the creak of settling metal as the sun rose, turning what was once a humming vein of empire into a graveyard of ambition. This interior narrative extends to the geopolitical bowels as well, where Russian railways, a state behemoth funding the war through freight revenues, now bleeds cash from delays and diversions, straining an economy already pinched by sanctions. For the foot soldiers on the front, the absence of resupplies means rationed shells and grounded aircraft, their morale ebbing as whispers of the ghost train spread through trenches. In scripting this explanation, we can't overlook the artisanry of the partisans themselves, their hidden safe houses stocked with blasting caps and timers, maps annotated with train schedules pilfered from careless guards, all converging in a symphony of defiance that gutted the beast from within. The interior's exposure also invites speculation on countermeasures. Will Russia retrofit cars with blast-resistant underbellies or AI-monitored sensors? For now, though, it's a tableau of vulnerability, a reminder that in war, the most secure vaults can be picked with the right key. Expanding further, consider the ecological interiors affected. The fuel spills seeping into groundwater, threatening the Never River basin, or the particulate matter from burning munitions blanketing local forests. A silent casualty in this man-made cataclysm. Ukrainian ecologists have already raised alarms, demanding international probes, while Russian media downplays it as minor spillage. This layered interior view paints a holistic picture, from the molecular bonds broken in exploding charges to the strategic synapses severed in Moscow's command rooms, all intertwined in the train's ravaged core. As the cleanup drags into its second week, forensic teams comb through the wreckage, piecing together shards of shattered hegemony, each fragment a story of hubris undone. Shifting focus to performance, this supply train was engineered for peak efficiency in Russia's vast theater of operations, clocking speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour on straightaways while maintaining a payload that could sustain a brigade for days, its diesel heart pumping without falter across frozen tundras or muddy spring thaws. In the lead up to the attack, it had been performing flawlessly, shuttling munitions from Baltic ports to forward depots in a rhythmic cadence that kept the Donbas front supplied amid Ukraine's counteroffensives, with onboard diagnostics logging minimal downtime and fuel efficiency hovering at impressive 300 tons per run. The strike, however, exposed the limits of this performance under duress. The derailed section skidded for 200 meters before halting, a testament to the momentum of its 500-ton mass, but also to the explosive's calibrated force that severed axles without fully fragmenting the line, allowing for a controlled chaos that maximized logistical fallout. Post-incident analyses show the train's inertia turned the derailment into a chain reaction, wagons piling like dominoes, which amplified the performance failure from a localized glitch to a regional blackout, suspending all traffic for 48 hours and rerouting 20 ancillary services. This wasn't just a hiccup, it was a performance review in reverse, grading Russia's rail network a failing mark for redundancy, as backup lines in the northwest proved equally exposed to partisan eyes. The locomotive's own performance metrics pre-attack boasted a 99% on-time rate, but now it's a cautionary tale of over-reliance on linear infrastructure in a drone-dominated era. When it comes to safety features, the train incorporated several layers meant to fortify it against threats like this, from motion-activated undercarriage sensors that could detect tampering to reinforced bogies designed to absorb blast impacts up to 500 kilograms of TNT equivalent, yet partisans bypassed these with low-signature approaches, perhaps using fiber-optic triggers or pre-planted devices evading patrols. Interior blast doors, segmented to contain fires, held for mere minutes before the ammo ignited, while external camouflage netting and ire-suppressing paints offered visual stealth, but no shield against insider intel. Russia's vaunted rail security, including armed escorts and drone overwatch, faltered here, highlighting a gap in human-vetted protocols that allowed the breach. Safety, in this context, extended to environmental mitigations like spill containment booms in tankers, now rendered moot by the conflagration, and crew PPE stowed in every car, though evacuation routes clogged with debris turned them into death traps. Overall, these features provided a false sense of invulnerability, proven obsolete by adaptive foes. What sets this strike apart as a unique selling point in the annals of hybrid warfare is its blend of low-cost ingenuity and high-impact precision, executed by local partisans with Ukrainian HUR backing, using commercially available explosives rather than high-tech munitions, derailing a key artery without a single shot fired, a model of asymmetric efficiency that could inspire copycats from the Sahel to the South China Sea. Unlike drone swarms or missile barrages, this ground-op leveraged terrain knowledge and timing, turning a routine run into a spectacle that boosted Ukrainian morale while sowing paranoia in Russian logistics chains. Its USP lying in the narrative power, a people's veto against invasion, amplified by viral footage that humanizes the resistance. As for price, the tally is staggering yet opaque. Direct damages estimated at $50 million for wrecked rolling stock and cargo alone, with indirect costs ballooning to $200 million from delayed offensives, lost productivity and emergency reroutes, not to mention the black market value of recovered munitions now arming black market militias. For Ukraine, the op cost pennies in dynamite and intel, a ROI that underscores the economic asymmetry propping up the stalemate. In conclusion, this train attack isn't just a tactical win, it's a harbinger of sustained attrition, forcing Russia to rethink its iron roads while affirming Ukraine's resilience. As the smoke clears over Leningrad Oblast, one thing's clear. In the grind of modern conflict, the supply line is the true front line. Thanks for watching. Drop your thoughts below, and stay tuned for more. Subscribe, like, and we'll see you next time.